fist. Well, left home at 4:30 a.m. heading to the South Dakota border, all the way across the state, from the Wisconsin border to the South Dakota border. It's about 4.5 hours if you just drive straight. I don't know if you can hear me over my bad wheel bearing. Fingers crossed. It's getting louder. The sun is just coming up. It's crazy because it's just this orange orb. A lot of smoke in the air from these Canadian wildfires up in Manitoba and northwest Ontario. I am getting close to Big Stone National Wildlife Refuge out on the Minnesota-South Dakota border. Oh, the smoke from the Canadian wildfires in Manitoba and Ontario is pretty thick and it stinks like wildfire, which is not a pleasant smell. But already got Forster's terns, yellow-headed blackbirds, pelicans, black-billed cuckoo calling, clay-colored sparrow, marsh wren. Let's get to the refuge. I knew about the Say's Phoebe from eBird and Paul Cherry. Shout out to Paul. Say's Phoebe. Yeah, just fun to hear that western bird in Minnesota. Really rare in the state. And then right here in the willows, there's a hint. Two willow flycatchers. Willow flycatcher. We get alder flycatcher in the Northwoods, and there's very little overlap. Any spots in Minnesota where you get both, but just a narrow band. You can hear them doing a little whit call. Whit, whit, good start. Although it's heating up. Started out at 42 degrees, now it's 72. Two really good flycatchers, and I just got here. Really interesting landscape out here in the Minnesota River Valley. Hear another Say's Phoebe up here somewhere. What's better than one Say's Phoebe? Two Say's Phoebes. Did you know Minnesota has native cactus? Yep. You get out to the western part of the state and there are 3 species. This is prickly pear. Doesn't get ginormous like in Texas or Arizona, but it's there. It's pretty cool. Somehow these turtles got in this position. I really can't imagine how, but pretty funny. Energized by my eclectic lunch in Ortonville, I was making my way to Salt Lake. Just happened to go by a farm that, well, I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. I think ANN, A-N-N, stands for and, A-N-D. I don't know, but pretty entertaining. Don't worry, buddy. I ain't gonna do any snooping. South Dakota on the right, Minnesota on the left. I guess I should drive right down the middle. One of the main reasons I decided to come out here is to go to Salt Lake. Not that Salt Lake, not in Utah, but the one on the Minnesota-South Dakota border. And I brought my kayak because there are eared grebes, western grebes, and Clark's grebes, redneck grebes. They're all out here. I'm gonna see if I can get some courtship footage. I'm actually in South Dakota now. I'm going to the South Dakota side of the lake to check it out. It is nearly 90 degrees. Yay. So it would feel good to be in the water, actually. All right, let's go scout it out. As we start our kayak shorebird adventure, stick with me till near the end of the video. I'm going to share my favorite shorebird photos taken from a kayak on this trip. Pretty cool. Now, only if they would come a little closer. There's a flock of 13 red-necked phalaropes out here and 2 Wilson's phalaropes and another little group. Stunning species where the female is more colorful than the male, and she mates with several males. Well, I decided to break out the Crazy Creek chair and just sit by this lobe of Salt Lake. There's like 100 shorebirds here. A lot of them are too far away to ID, but a pair of stilt sandpipers over here. Hard to see their stilt-like long legs when they're in the water like this, but notice that rusty cheek patch and the long, slightly curved bill. There's a semi-plover, killdeer, of course. Yeah, but sometimes it's fun just to sit and see what happens. Just sit in one spot for a couple hours and see what opportunities unfold. Well, I got tired of sitting in my Crazy Creek on land, so I decided to sit in my kayak on the water. Shooting from a kayak is extremely difficult without the Canon R5 or any of the similar modern era higher end mirrorless cameras. It might nigh well be impossible because the kayak's going like this and you're drifting. I don't have a keel, so you just drift around. Maybe you're shooting over there, but you're drifting this way, and shooting eye level, you can't really lean to get your camera down at water level. So extremely difficult, but 4K 120 video saves the day, and then shooting at 4,000ths of a second. But the eared grebes weren't having it. I got a couple shots, but that's about it. They kept their distance. Ruddy ducks, slightly more tolerant. Then all of a sudden a flock of about 40-some dunlin mixed in with a few ruddy turnstones and semi-palmated sandpipers popped in. Pretty cool. I've never seen a flock this big of dunlin personally. So yeah, really fun. I was able to drift silently right up to him with the wind, 30-40 feet. Dunlin, the birds whose bellies have been dipped in ink. Crazy, yeah, like, I don't know, 50, 60 of them. Yeah, it's just nice to be out on the water. I put my sweatshirt on even though it's 85 degrees because I think I had enough sun for the day. Smoke has cleared out somewhat. Canadian wildfires must still be going, but the wind is switching to the south, so that'll blow it north. There's a yellow-headed blackbird. And then here was the turning point for the whole trip. I saw this sandbar way out on the lake, decided to kayak out there, and wow. This is where I discovered that shorebirds really don't think of the kayak as a human. A human in a kayak? No problem. So I was just offshore, getting all kinds of crazy video and photos. They could care less. These Dunlin are headed way up north to the high tundra. They're also found in Scandinavia and Siberia. And the reason this lake is so popular with shorebirds and other water birds is it's an alkaline lake, so a salty lake. Not near as salty as Great Salt Lake, but it does have brine flies, and I think that's what a lot of these birds are eating, the larvae of brine flies and later the adults. I'm a little more used to seeing little flocks of sanderlings on Park Point, Duluth, on the shores of Lake Superior, running up and down, in and out with the waves, right in the surf. But this guy's getting closer to breeding plumage with that beautiful rusty red feathers on the back and chest and head. Size-wise, they're kind of intermediate between the semi-palmated sandpiper and the Dunlin. And note the all-black legs as well. It's June already, buddy. You better get going, because you got a long ways to go. You can see an orange in the range map. They nest way up on the high tundra, way up on Baffin Island and Greenland as well. I might as well be in a floating blind right now. I got semi-sandpipers, semi-plover, sanderlings, pectorals, just feet away. Here's the semi-palmated sandpiper, little peep as we call them, kind of a generic name for small sandpipers. This guy was pretty feisty. They put his head down and just charge other shorebirds, squawk at him, and whoop, there he goes. He's chasing what's he chasing? Oh, I think it was a sanderling. So look at that, his tail's up, wings held out. Oh, another semi-palmated sandpiper was chasing him. Oh, sanderling is getting back at him. Yeah, so the sanderling and the semi had a battle, and oh, he poked him in the booty. Here it is in slow motion. I think he was trying to grab a tail feather of the bigger sanderling. Yeah, so all the shorebirds, they're kind of getting amped up, ready for breeding season, and yet they have thousands of miles to go to get up to the tundra of northern Canada and Alaska, where they breed. All right, well, maybe time to pack it in. Sun's going down. Whew, that was nice. Nice paddle. A lot of shorebirds. Took a lot of photos because I had it on electronic shutter. Didn't want to miss anything. I hate chimping 50 shots of the same bird. For these fast-moving shorebirds, I think it made sense this time. Oh, I forgot to mention I had lunch in the town of Madison, Minnesota. Yeah, lutefisk, capital of America. Just America. Lutefisk. But sadly, none of this gelatinous Norwegian-American food on the menu at the diner. Just a heaping plate of hot dish. How can you get more Minnesotan than that? Followed by a big can of liquid death. You bet. Well, it's an Econo Lodge, but number 1 of 510. My expectations are high. I'm back at Salt Lake. Thought I'd give it another shot at this other little pond on the South Dakota side, and I realized I left my paddle way on the other side of the lake last night. I threw it up on shore and loaded the kayak and totally forgot about it, so let's hope it's still in the grass over there. It was probably visible from the road, but not too many farmers need a kayak paddle, so fingers crossed. Alright, this was the area. There's my drag marks. Ah! Still here. Woohoo! Ooh, it's a lot windier than yesterday. It was only supposed to be 10-mile-an-hour winds this morning, but obviously it's like 20 miles an hour. But there's a ton of shorebirds over here by the cows. It's a WPA, wild waterfowl production area, so I'm free to kayak it. Let's go for it. Okay, paddling's a little harder than I thought. It was really cool watching the semi-palmated sandpipers just kind of hovering as they plucked the brine shrimp or brine fly larvae from the water surface. And I think they did it because they're not swimmers, they're not floaters, and easy to get stuck in that algae, so they kind of kept their wings flapping while they plucked the larva. So it's just kind of fun to see them. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I just keep my camera between my legs, and I got a bag of extra batteries and memory cards. I got that mini tripod there that I lash on for some actual in-action iPhone video. And then I have a sponge in here somewhere. I get too much water in the bottom. Had that big flock of dunlin yesterday, but there was still one hanging out here at this part of the lake as well. Kayaking through that muck and that thick algae was not easy, but finally I got over fairly close to the phalaropes. And once again, this is the biggest revelation of this weekend was shorebirds could care less about you in a kayak. It is crazy. I can't believe I've never tried this before. Yeah, just try approaching shorebirds on foot sometime. I mean, on Park Point, if you lay down in the sand and kind of wait for them to come by you, that can work. But boy, when you're on the water, they really just ignore you. You see the really colorful Wilson's phalarope there? That's actually the female, and this is one of those species, along with the red-necked phalarope, where the male is more drab than the female, and she is the one who's kind of the aggressor in mating. She will have maybe even a little harem of males. Wilson's phalaropes are more of a prairie / wet meadow breeding bird in the interior of North America, compared to rednecks and red phalaropes, which are tundra nesters. They nest in wetlands from eastern Canada, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the Great Plains. And these guys are hyper feeders. Most of the clips I've been showing you have been slowed down 4 times, 120 frames a second, and here they are in real time. And I tried to get as low as I could to get more eye-level shots. I could brace it on the front of the kayak and shoot with the LCD screen tipped up. But I also leaned over the edge as much as I could. You can't lean very far in a kayak, and held it close to the water, tipped the LCD screen way up, and I was able to get some really close eye-level shots. The R5 eye tracking is just magic, and shooting in 120 frames a second is much more forgiving, because even if you get 1 second in focus, that turns into 4 seconds of video. And as you can see here, I got close to another species, the red-necked phalarope, a little smaller, but I see them less than the Wilsons. The little red-necked phalarope is the smallest of our 3 species and very aquatic. Check out where it winters down along the Mexican coast on the Pacific side, all the way down to South America in open ocean. I've seen them nesting up in Churchill, Hudson Bay, but they nest all across the wet tundra of Canada and Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, and even Scandinavia and Siberia. It's just a stellar bird. I read that red-necked phalaropes are a more aquatic species, and so they have lobed toes, whereas Wilson's phalaropes spend more time on mud and dry land, wetland, but on land, and so their toes are more sandpiper-like without the lobes. So kind of interesting. Here's an interesting shot with the Wilson's phalarope in the foreground, red-necked phalarope in the background. You can really see the size difference. And then all of a sudden, while I was sitting there, all the phalaropes seemed to get super excited and lots of energy, and the females, the more colorful ones, started chasing the males, and it was an all-out battle with other females for one male. So the red-necked phalaropes kind of started it off, and you can see them here chasing each other. But the Wilson's phalaropes followed soon enough, and I'm going to show you some of those epic battles as well. And what we're seeing here with these chases is actually courtship. It's the females chasing each other, trying to vie for a male. And in a continuation of this role reversal from what is typical in birds, like we talked about, the female is more colorful than the male. And then after mating, she lays the eggs in a nest, and then it's all up to him. He's got to incubate them, and he takes care of the young. And it looks like this female is trying to drown the other female. You know, phalarope surfing there, right on her back. Crazy aggressive. Let's see that in super slow motion. Yeah, and they're just pursuing the male. There they go. And then the female gets sidetracked and decides to attack the other competing female. It's really interesting behavior. Some of these battles took place while I was taking stills. And here's the surfing Wilson's phalarope. Crazy, just trying to take that other female down, trying to push her into the water, and kind of succeed. Then if that doesn't work, try and poke them, and yeah, keep on chasing those males. They are known for spin feeding, where they'll just kind of spin around and around on a wetland, and it's thought that they might stir up aquatic insects, but they don't need to do that here, I guess, because I think they're just plucking brine fly larvae, maybe, from the water. This is an alkaline lake, which means it's a bit salty, so I got a lot of water splashes on here, so yeah, good idea to clean that off right away. Okay, time for my favorite photos from the trip. Maybe a little abbreviated because I'm packing for a 2-week trip, but yeah, electronic shutter didn't do me any favors. So many to edit. Swallow in flight? Are you kidding? That's all the credit goes to the R5. And when I was in the kayak on that little sandbar, the Dunlin and other shorebirds were right at eye level, and so I could get kind of the blue background right when they're on top of the island. But yeah, just the crazy battles of the phalaropes. I just got a lot of photos of those guys, including some portraits. Red-necked phalarope portrait with a reflection, and just some fun shots with leaning over the side of the kayaks to shoot right at algae level. Superstar bird of the trip, I'm gonna have to kind of split it up here. Land bird, definitely the 2 Say's Phoebes. Yeah, I've seen them in Minnesota before, but it's been like 20-30 years, I think. Superstar shorebird, but golly, I kind of got to split it up between the Dunlin and the red-necked phalaropes and the Wilson's phalaropes. Can I do that? Can I have 3 superstar shorebirds of the trip? Yeah, well, I guess I make the rules. Take care, everyone, and like the great one, Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And you know what? That applies to wildlife photography too.